Okay, I think we're rolling. Looks like everything is good to go. All right. Well, welcome. Well, of course, YouTube Studio is angry at me already. So I'm Pat, and this is Pieces Pat Paints. We paint a lot of different pieces. If you've never been here before, it's basically a pretty loose format. We hang out, we paint some stuff. I talk about painting stuff, and basically just hang out. That's it. So grab yourself something to drink and hang out. And if you've got any questions about what we do, don't feel free to shout them out. Don't feel shy. So got you playing, but working on the house. Oh yeah, what are you working on? Just cleaning, or are you trying to build something? That's from Flying Arrow Magnetics. He's a friend of the channel and comments occasionally. More often than not, I should say. While he's jumping on, we are waiting on our. This, what am I waiting on? I don't even remember what I'm waiting on. Oh no, waiting on me. We're waiting on me to tell you what we're working on. That's what I'm trying to say. This cold outside really like numbed my brain. I slept in like a bear today, and so I'm still kind of like. So I got myself some coffee, and we're gonna wake up and enjoy some painting. I changed the setup a little bit on the camera. I'm hoping this is gonna give us a better views and better look. And you can see we got a lot more bugs. As this project continues, we'll have a lot more of these bugs out. And they're a lot of fun. I love turnips. So this one here is called a psychophage. Is its term, if you were to name it. It's an interesting bug. Let me put this up here. It seems to be fun to have that where people can see it. Ooh. Well, this new camera is kind of. I'll have to use. I keep moving my camera around, and I keep saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get used to that," and then I move it again, and then. Which is kind of the fun part about all this, I suppose. Trying to find the best way to film this as we pop through. Oh, great! We just got over to excellent, which usually means we're in a good place to keep rolling. Hopefully, everybody can hear me pretty good and see me pretty good. Who knows? So, hope everybody had a great weekend. Happy Martin Luther King Day for anybody who's off today. For those of you who are having to work today, I understand. Technically, I guess I'm here at work because I'm here painting with you fine folks. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to finish getting our tentacles kind of blended in. These are pretty dang close to being done. So we just got a few more things to kind of take care of on them. And I might come through here, and now that we've got this section done, we'll start off with this. We're going to go ahead and make sure we've got all these little spots pulled out like we want. So it has the right coloration. Taking care of any places where we may have gotten a little bit of yellow, a little bit of purple on the yellow while we were getting all our dry brush redone. So there we go. We're trying a little bit of music today too, so you can see how that works. If it drives me nuts, I'm going to turn it off. If it doesn't, then we're going to let it roll. It's interesting what's available as like free use music. People are trying to get their music out there and stuff. It's pretty cool. I'm going to try and get a little bit more into doing that and get better at all of these other little streaming things. First thing I needed to figure out was like exactly how to make it all work and make it work on a camera, and it's an adventure. It's really cool. Definitely different from what I would start out as. But in a way, it's not. I did TV work when I was a chef too, so I kind of understand like a little bit of how the camera works, and like a few of the little tips on how to use camera. Use your shot and make sure you frame your shots and stuff like that. I try to set up everything in the shot to have a certain look, and that's just part of the way things go when you're talking about shooting film and live TV or whatever. So, working on those things. And there's Princess Sappy Toes yet again. Hello, Blue. And away she goes. Okay. See you later. Alright. Looks like our brush is probably in need of some cleaning. I need to go get some brush soap. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun thing to show you guys. Some brush soap. I'm out. They make a couple of different kinds, but you can see how this guy is starting to see how it bends, and you can see some of the paint that's gotten stuck on the inside of it. Or maybe I didn't quite get it cleaned out quite right, and it'll come out of there here as we kind of work with it now. Just be patient with them. Don't go bashing them around when they get like that. And there's no telling what happened here. It was a long weekend. I was interrupted several times in what I was doing. And a lot of stuff to do. And you can see, here's fun. You might not actually be able to see this. But you can see where it's getting out the little pieces of the magenta here. On the paper towel. And we're just going to kind of be careful with it and take our time. You want to be careful, like putting certain kinds of cleaners and stuff on brushes. They don't necessarily respond really well to that. I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing. Just kind of rolling it and then brushing it, and then I'll check and see. And you can definitely see where that paint dried on it wrong. And I probably left this sitting. Everybody does this sort of thing, so it's kind of fun to be able to look at it. And figure out how to fix it, because you're gonna, man, everybody, you have lives that happen, you get gray spots like this. That means you have like a long life, and you probably have something else going on in your life, and at any minute your phone might ring, and you gotta be careful about keeping your stuff together. But every now and again you're gonna make mistakes. You can see how this is starting to really start to look better too. So now it's not quite bunching up right there. We can still kind of see where it is, but it's not bunching up as quite as bad. It'll work itself out. So I said, just be patient with it. Keep kind of rinsing it and kind of work it a little bit gently. Give it a nice spin, and just kind of work it out. And that's the best way to go. All right. So we're back to working on our mouth here. Looks like our wet pot might need a little bit more water. Oof. It's really dry right now because it's so cold. So things that require water are needing more water. My poor plants. I had to water them a second time this week because it was so dry. I was like, oh my goodness, y'all. Look at you. This is pretty easy. Just go to the corners. Just don't get your water in where the paint is. I feel like that kind of got a little bit of water in that black. We're going to let that soak. That'll be fine. Okay. What a Monday. Okay, now. It's funny how I can tell how humid the palettes are. I guess that just comes from time. So we're going to just bring this magenta back on here just a little bit, especially now that it's dried. It'll take the paint a lot better. And just in this, just kind of highlight it. Don't worry about getting in the crevices. We just want to give it that highlight so it'll help with this transition. Then we got a pretty good start on last week. Easy does it. Just a little bits at a time. Wondering if you can even hear that music. Hopefully it's super background. It's just barely playing. That was my goal. I kind of like to have a little bit of music, you know, for myself. It keeps my mind kind of moving. If I'm not listening to some boring old dusty documentaries about some king and his rule some million years ago, then I like to listen to a little bit of music. Although I do love my old man documentaries. Probably because I'm an old guy. That's okay. I don't mind. I kind of like to lean into it. Like I'm wearing my robe today, and my wizard robes. I keep making this joke on Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook about being a wizard and wearing my robes out in public, buying like a bunch of wizard robes, and that's all I wear is wizard robes. Unfortunately, like Kristen's like, sure, why not? Fuck, forget it, and as well, right? Might as well. It's like, oh man, that's funny. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. It's good. It's funny. It's a fun joke. I don't know that I'll actually. I mean, you know, I'll start wearing a medieval fair, of course, if I can ever give up my kilt. I love my kilt. I have a really. Oh, as a matter of fact, story about the adventures to go get my kilt. This was the day several years ago that I was on my way to Scotland. I'd won a trip where I got to stay in a building on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, Scotland, which is really cool. And if you know me, I'm a huge Scottish lover, and my family's, you know, Scottish and Norse and Irish and Welsh and English and, you know, whatever. But I love Scottish stuff and I love Scottish history and I love Scotland. I root for the Rangers. I'm a Scottish fan, football fan, and you know it's good times. I love it. Anyway, I finally got a chance to go to Scotland, so I'm flying over there. I gotta go through Dublin, and there's a horrible like windstorm going on, which is, you know, I'm from Oklahoma, so like wind is just, it's just windy here. And they rattled off some numbers. I don't remember what the numbers are now, but it was, you know, it was windy, but it was one of those things where I was like, well, yeah, but it's windy like that all the time where I'm from. And, you know, you got to remember that, yeah, other places aren't always used to dealing with the same kinds of winds as other places are, and maybe the pilots aren't used to the same. Or maybe it's a wind coming out of a strange direction, and the airport's not designed for that, or whatever. There's lots of reasons. So you really need to just remain patient. And this is one of those moments where I remained patient, which is, you know, not always how I am. I have definitely been known to not remain patient in my past. And I will definitely probably be known to not remain patient again soon. But this time I did. And other people were not. Other people were not patient. They were very angry. And so they started trying to appease people by giving them meal vouchers and the like. And, well, I just kept collecting the meal vouchers and had myself a nice little lunch with a gentleman named Peter, if I remember right. Pete, I think his name was Pete. He's a writer in Britain, I believe. And he actually almost passed out in the airport. He had been flying for many, many hours. And anyway, we had a very nice lunch. And then we finally get on a plane after we been there for hours on this layover. When we finally got on a plane, and I was buying people drinks with the vouchers that they gave us, because it was amazing. I had all these vouchers. That poor waitress. So the whole thing was very, very, very funny. All right, let's see if we can get that to focus in for us. Maybe if I get the light on it. So just applying that magenta as I go, trying to hit these points that have more area of sunlight than others. That way we can kind of accent the edges. We're going to come back with that Naples yellow, and then again with white to really bring these teeth back out. But that is going to be a process, which we're getting ready to start very soon, unfortunately for me. Okay. There's no like easy fix to this. I definitely recommend you go with a very pale yellow first, and just kind of gently. Let's see if I can get to where you can see. There we go. Now I got to be able to paint like that, and here we go. Okay, so very gently. Yeah, see, it's not as easy at this angle, but you're very gently. I have to move the model. And we're going to come back in, and I'm going to touch this up with just a little bit of base. Or, not base, wash. Base. All about that base. So we're going to do a little bit of wash to kind of help deepen these teeth up. But we really want to, I think you can see a little bit better about how I'm doing it. Just kissing it with the brush. Don't be afraid to keep washing your brush, getting it dry, getting more paint, washing your brush, getting it dry, getting more paint. It may seem kind of tedious at first, but then you're gonna start getting the rhythm, and it's gonna start looking good, and you're gonna do great. You just have to be super patient and just angle. Let's see if we can see it. Beautiful. And then we're just going to kind of touch it. Barely tip it. And if you have to come back and put more, that's fine. Just relax. Deep breath, bold strokes. In and out. Deep breaths. Relax. And just try to hit up those little points. Boom, 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 boom. Painting is all about relaxing. And the great thing is that this is a super dark background. So these teeth, if we can just put a little bit of color on them, even if they don't look perfect, they're going to look great. And people are going to be like, oh, because you don't have to do a whole lot of work to make the bright colors stand. Ooh, it focused in really nice. To make the bright colors stand out. And you don't have to paint all the way around the tooth. You just have to kind of make it look like it's done from the angle. I'm not trying to get all the way around it. I'm just getting the parts where the light sources are gonna bounce on it and hit it. Yeah, hey, thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's gonna look great once this guy is done. He's gonna look insane. And this isn't even like the coolest model in this army. Like, there are some other models in this army that they're just wild because it's genetic mutations and stuff that make these critters. And so, like, you know a little bit of Warhammer, so you kind of know. But for those who don't, they genetically mutate themselves to match whatever situation they've encountered. And so there's all sorts of wild looking things to paint. So, and it's a lot of fun. Like I said, you just want to be very patient. Take a deep breath. Breathe in and out, and just try to touch the tips. If we make a mistake, we're just going to go ahead and try and get it off there real quick. And we'll come back and we'll put some more wash on it if we have to, and we'll just doctor it back up. It'll be okay. Best thing is, for me, a lot of times, is knowing that I can fix it. It helps me relax, and I perform better. I don't mess up quite as much. That's the same philosophy I had with cooking, and when I taught people how to cook. It was always the people who never messed up making the hollandaise. When they finally mess something up, that's a metaphor. For they always get it all right. Eventually, they're gonna mess up. Something's gonna happen. They're gonna be sick, or they're gonna have a bad day, or the equipment's gonna fail, or something in this infinitely chaotic universe is gonna happen. And you need to be kind of understand how to fix it, which is why I always taught how to fix a broken hollandaise or a broken mayonnaise or something like that. I preferred it when something went wrong, which is why I was kind of glad I kind of messed up that brush today, because it gives us that opportunity to look at it and say, oh, okay, well, that's how we fix this. Don't toss out your good brush, or don't immediately send it to the jam brush pile. Save that for your synthetics. Throw your synthetics in the jam brush. But this is a Kolinsky stable, so we want to be patient with it and work it out and fix it. And it is about time to buy some brush soap for these guys. So I will be looking at that and getting us some brush soap. We'll get us a couple of different versions of it maybe, and I can show you guys a little bit about how they work and what I prefer, which is fun. Oh yeah, saying just stay and relax. Come on, give us a good shot. Give us a good shot, camera. Come on, Steve. Come on, Steve. There you go. Good job. Thanks, bud. For those who don't know, Steve is my computer. He's the little blue robot in all my... I'm the wizard, he's the robot. It's a joke between myself and my computer. I spent a lot of time talking to it, so I figured I'd give it a name. I mean, technically, I'm speaking through this portal to talk to all of you fine folks as well. But I like the idea of giving the computer a name, and then I named it Steve. And then inadvertently, after I named it Steve, and this was fun. After I named it Steve, I started finding these Warhammer memes where there's a Necron named Steve. And he's one of the Necrons that wears human remains to appear more like lifelike, because Necrons are these crazed robots that sold their souls for immortality, and now they're regenerative robots. Anyway, so Steve is, I don't know, it just makes it funnier for me. It probably makes it funnier for any of you Warhammer fans that are watching, because that's amusing. And that's what you guys are here for. If you came around here, you're coming here to listen to me ramble about weird things. And paint miniatures, which is, what I do. That's, it's kind of fun. I enjoy it. So, anyway, it is Dr. Martin Luther King Day, which is awesome. For those of you who don't live here in the States, or maybe don't know anything about Dr. King, he was a freedom's rights advocate, or African American rights in particular, but freedoms and rights and everything, really, for everybody. Honestly, when you go deep into his message. His message was about equality for everybody, which is super awesome. There should be as much equality as possible. as much quality as the Ultra Rich will let us have anyway. There's always been that divide in human society, and it probably will always exist between the ultra haves and the have-nots. Oh yeah, that's looking fan-diddly-astic. Looking just fierce. Rawr. Ah. Smacking that camera around. Come on, give us a good shot. Give us a good shot. Give us a good shot. Oh yeah. Looks great. I'm really happy with that. There we go. Bang! Finally popped in for us. Oh yeah, look at that. Rawr. Yeah, I'm a nerd. A giant child. Maybe not that kind of child, but, you know. Whatevers. Barely tip them. Just trying to barely put that paint on there. We may not even have to come back with the white, honestly. It looks so great. I may just leave it as is. A lot of people like to put, make their teeth bloody or whatever. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not my game, though. I just like to make sure their teeth stand out real good. Oh, these ones down in the back of this throat get so, they're so tiny, and it's so nerve-wracking trying to get around the tongue. Again, I probably should have painted these when it was not assembled. But I love my kids and they wanted to play. So I did it. And we're doing great. We're getting in there and getting that done. Again, that's that experience from painting all those 3D printed models. Those 3D printed models are really hard to paint. A lot of them come already like all one piece, and so you're like, ugh. I get in there and paint that thing. So at least I'm getting, I have the experience. I might need to switch to a small brush here. Honestly. That's my 3. Or 0.3. Or 3/0. Again, depending on what kind of brush you buy. Depends on how they mark it. But there's a 0, and then there's like a 1, 2, 3 that goes up. And then there is a 0 under, where they're either going to use decimal points, or they're going to use fractions or something. And that's how you look at brushes. I should get a couple other different brushes. Like as we go through the channel, we'll get different brushes and we'll kind of like talk about like what makes one brush different than another. Like, okay, this guy here, this is a 3/0. It's also Kolinsky. And so it's going to be, let's see, like it's different than this 3/0. Okay, so look at that. Okay, so this is the exact same brush from 2 different companies. They're marked exactly the same. They are not the same. So, like, what do? So you look at that one, and then you take this guy. This is their 5. Now this one is going to be smaller. So this is the Golden Maple 5 versus a full coil 3 or 3/0. It's so wild because it's like this is the same brush. This one's a little longer, but it's the same size tips and stuff, but they're marked differently. One's a 5, one's a 3. I don't know. It's supposed to be kind of standardized, but it never seems like it is. Anyway, it's just me being weird about brushes. And I can assure you the tip sizes are the same. I've used them several times, both of these brushes, and the tip size between this 5/0 and that 3/0 are the exact same. Because sometimes you think, okay, well, it's just the tip size, or is the difference in the one's longer than the other, and it's like, no, not in this case. Golly, there are some teeth way back in there, just kind of barely hitting them. This is the smallest brush I got, regardless, whatever the call of it is. Here we go. All right, so I'm definitely going to leave those inside teeth alone, just simply because I don't really feel like getting in there is going to help us much. But I am going to take a little bit of this burnt sienna, which is kind of a wash. It's a little thick wash right now, but it is a wash. I'm going to go around the tops, and I'm going to get in between this one right here. Just to help give it some separation. And help give our teeth a little bit of these top teeth a little bit of a change of colors to help us kind of have some differentiation. And we'll come back and we'll hit this up with that Naples yellow again, or maybe white to make them stand out even more. Might hit them with white. I'm thinking maybe this might need just a touch of this part right here where we made that mistake. Might need a touch of our raw umber. Just let that dry, and that should differentiate that tooth we made that mistake on. Yeah, can't see it really well on the camera because there we go. So now you can see the gap in the teeth. It looks great. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to do the eyes after I do the carapace, because I might be coming over here and doing a lot of work on it. So I want to kind of leave the eyes alone, and I'm probably going to have to come back and work on its face a little bit more later on. I really kind of like the tentacles as they are. I don't want to get them too much more bright because I want to keep it more of like this. So I don't really want to put too much of our yellow on. So I think we are done with that. Looks great. Looks really nice. Good transitions, good blends. So now we get to work on the legs, and then we can move on to the carapace, which is awesome. We already did this one leg as a sample, kind of get our idea. And then we'll just start duplicating this down the legs. So that is awesome. I'm going to take myself a short break, get a little bit of drink real quick, stretch out the legs. So anyway, that's important. You should always be taking breaks, get a little bit of a drink, stretch yourself out a little bit, work on it again. It's not just for like your legs and your feet and your whatever have you. It helps your mind, helps you kind of relax for a second, and then readjust what you're doing. So anytime you come to a good stopping point, get your brush cleaned up, take a quick break, breathe in, and get back to it. It makes it harder when you're working on like the little guys, like these little guys down here, because like you get into this deal where you're like, oh, I gotta get this many done or that many done, and you make yourself crazy. My real hope here is to kind of be a source for people who are just learning how to paint, to come and kind of learn some habits. You don't necessarily have to follow exactly the way I paint something, but just good habits and how to take care of your hobby, and how to produce really cool stuff if you want. I'm so glad when that refrigerator turns off. It's so dang loud. It fits so perfectly right there though, so it's hard to not. Okay, so we need to go back to our larger brush, that 5. Not 5, the 3. This 3. That doesn't look like their 3. Anyway. So weird. Alright. So, second verse, same as the first. For starters, we want to go ahead and bring this up. So we're going to go ahead and put some magenta in there. All right. Now let's go ahead and get that blend going. Pitter patter, let's get at her. All right, make it good and rubied up right there, and we'll blend down into our other colors again, like we have been before. That's a burnt sienna coming in next. Over and over and over again. Constant, just a constant repeat of the process. So, hello, new viewers. Anybody? Looks like we got a few new folks. Feel free to say hello. Feel free to not say hello. Feel free to just hang out. Whatever makes you happy. I'm pretty easygoing. I'm gonna keep painting and talking because that's what I do. Because this is pieces that Pat paints, and I am Pat, and I get to paint the pieces. And you come here to listen to my pontifications whilst I paint yon pieces. Gosh, that's weird and funny. Again, try to let that wash do most of your work for you. May have got a little bit in there, just a little too much. So I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm just going to get that paint super wet. Pull it out and get it on this paper towel before it sets. Okay, boom. Easy, easy, easy. Always take your time. If you make a mistake, just stop. And if you know the proper procedures, you can fix it. It's all about knowing those procedures. And right here, we are trying to blend in a couple colors into the other. A little too much water there. Control of your water on your brush and the water with the mix of the paint is really the secret to getting more advanced effects. If you want to get better at painting, you've got to learn how to wet blend things. And whether you're wet blending it on a palette or you're doing like what we're doing here, where we're actually working straight away on a model. So learning how to make those blends is really what separates the standard look from more advanced techniques. Like Sergio Calvo won the Golden Demon this year, which is a painting competition for Citadel models, these guys. And this stuff's so amazing. He does such great work. I would love to eventually be on that guy's level, because that guy's intense. But he does a lot of blends and a lot of change ups and stuff like that, and that's what really makes it pop, is his ability to make these blends. It makes it more natural. It makes it seem more realistic. And when you're talking about a tiny piece of plastic, and you're trying to make it realistic, that's a feat in and of itself, number one. But the kind of things that guy was doing, man, his stuff looks so good. It looks like a movie piece from from memorabilia for a movie that they're showing at the premiere or whatever. Really killer stuff. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice looking blend, right? Again, we're letting a lot of that wash stay down into the cracks and do its job while we do our blending on the tops. Okay. And I got a little bit of color back down here, but we don't necessarily need to worry so much about this. It's going to be under the model. It's not going to be seen. Yes, we want to give it the color. We want to kind of give it the good treatment. But if you're nervous and you want a good place to practice, this is the best place to practice. Practice on the underneath. It give you, if you mess up, then you won't feel so bad about it, and you'll build that confidence level. You'll be able to fix it or whatever. Little different things you can do to help make it work for you. And like I said, if you're going to practice, this is the part you practice on. Is back here. You can kind of, your mistakes are more forgiven. Because people they just don't see that part of the model often. They're only going to see it if they pick it up and start like actually looking. In which case, most of us that know what we're looking at are going to be like, oh yeah, no, I totally understand, brother. Don't stress it. Don't stress it. Or sister. There's some killer chick painters out there, man. I really enjoyed kind of starting to watch the community and learning more about, who's out there doing the same kind of stuff I'm doing. And there's some really, really talented people out there. And then there's me. And that's okay. I like kind of being the oddball. Oh, I got a little tangle going on right there. I'll pull that out. I created a little system to work with my equipment here, so I can get a good setup to paint with and film it. And that is not actually as easy as I was anticipating. I ain't gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be easier than it is. This is a lot more. There's a lot more to it, which is really cool. I like that. I like things that have a lot to it. I like things that are challenging. Especially if I'm going to use it as like, some sort of new career. Now that I've retired from the chef life. So, and yes, I miss it. I know I get asked that question occasionally. I've been asked that question on here before, whether I miss it, and I do. I miss the people I worked with a lot. They made, whether you know it or not, people I worked with, because some of you probably wonder whether I secretly plotted your death. No, I did not. I actually liked almost all of you. You were all amazing people. I miss you. I'm just kind of as a chef, I'm kind of a antagonist. Actually, in most situations, I'm a little bit of an antagonist, just because of just my general disposition. I kind of like to be that guy who's like, oh, you really wanted to say that. Okay, well, let me just point out everything that's wrong with what you said, because you're wrong. I'm that guy that wants to pick the fight. I'm the guy that always is like, no, that's wrong. You can't talk to somebody like that, and I'll call it out. And it's gotten me in a lot of trouble. But when I'm right, I'm right. It's really funny. One of my boys and I were watching a movie the other night called The Name of the Rose. If you've ever seen it, great movie. If you have not seen that movie, it is on Amazon Prime right now. You can watch it for free if you have Amazon Prime. Anyway, it's a really great movie, and I love it. We were watching it, and he's like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." And there's this character in there named William. He's one of the main characters. He's this older monk that's teaching the younger monk a lot of stuff, and my boy is like, "Oh man, I think I've heard you say that stuff before." And it's true. I try to be the teacher like him, and I've always been that way, where if you don't understand my meaning, then you don't, or me as a person, then you may mistake my meaning. It's like I've got to do this fight because I know I'm right. And if I know I'm right, I will fight to the very end of creation. And if I'm wrong, the best thing to do is give me a moment to breathe and calm down so that I can evaluate the situation. Because if I'm wrong, I will usually admit it once you've stopped antagonizing me to the point where I'm going to fight you. Or I will argue. I could come by it honestly. A lot of people in my family are that way. They'll just argue for no reason. A lot of times it wasn't even like, and that's another thing, like in my family, it was never really personal. I could just argue about things sometimes. Just for the sake of the argument itself. Sometimes it's just a discussion where it's like, well, and somebody has to take the other position. And I don't mind. I will sometimes, even in a good debate situation, I don't mind taking a position I don't even like. Or a position that I don't have myself. Just because in a debate, it's good to be able to, if you want to be good at debating, you need to be able to look at the entirety of the situation and understand all the viewpoints so that you can use that to your advantage. Something we're missing in a lot of our politics these days is that ability to really understand the other side. Not that either side is ever going to do anything about it right at this point. They seem to enjoy what they're doing. So, and we are definitely not here to talk about politics. I mean, maybe political systems in general, but not, the current state of politics. Anyway. Oh yeah, it's looking really good. Really want to get this section underneath these claws to have that transition into the magenta as well. So we're gonna start by getting this area back here set up. And it looks like we're up to the 5th view. I'm never sure if people stick around or not. I always look and check and see for a comment. Probably need to get like some sort of a banner or something that goes down along the bottom that says, feel free to like and subscribe, or feel free to comment, or all that. Probably all would probably be good. But every day I learn a little bit more. Every day we get a little bit better. That's what we want. Oh yeah, looking sick. Looking sick. It's cruising along now. I'll have this guy done here pretty shortly. Have to figure out what we're going to do about the base. I'm not sure what I want to do about the base at all yet. I kind of don't want him sitting flat, but it's kind of built like that. Maybe we can figure out how to put him on some sort of an angle, create some more debris and stuff. Little rock kind of formations, something to prop him up on. So yep, just coming back with that Naples yellow, just trying to hit these tops, bring it all back to life for us. It gives us a chance to look for any errors or mistakes while we brightened it up, give it the good contrast against all the rest of the model. Lots of good things, lots of good things. And generally smoothing stuff out, helping it get that more organic feel. After our wash, a lot of things kind of can pull in strange places. So you kind of want to make sure you're coming through and working it out. We want to leave some of that wash down where it needs to be to help us. We don't necessarily need all of it. And sometimes we need to help it. Just give it a little bit more color, maybe right down there in the bottom. Help us accentuate that just a little bit. All right. Oh, that's a little tricky spot to get into. There we go. Ever so gently. The kids are doing great. They're not making hardly a sound. That was the first real sound I heard out of them since we got started. They are all here due to the holiday. They may or may not make an appearance. You never know. Sounds like somebody's coming. It's my youngest. Hello, sir.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
Awesome.
What are you painting?
We're painting a psychophage.
Oh.
You see it on the camera?
Yeah.
I got his teeth done, look. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. That's a better focus. Or it was, till it got too close. It's interesting. Learning how to get the camera to focus is fun.
Yeah.
It's something I'm trying to get better at. We're still getting a pretty good look. Looks pretty gnarly, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. All right. So, anyway, yeah. That's what I'm painting today. We've been painting for 55 minutes. Well, we've been online for 55 minutes. That doesn't mean we've been painting. So, I talk and I do other stuff. What are you doing?
Just walking around.
Walking around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your walking around, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you. Dupper. Here she comes again. This is Princess Tapitoes. Tapitoes is right. A big old ball of water hanging out on my brush. There we go. Kind of keep working the same thing. Oof. One of the good things about using the same colors for the scheme is that they kind of work with each other in all sorts of different areas. So we can come back and if we make a minor mistakes, it's easier to fix. You get your color scheme too wild and sometimes it gets a little bit more difficult to fix it. And like I said, just keep blending it, let it blend itself in. We're really just trying to make the edges stand out. Give it a little bit more of a brighter color. We don't want it to be quite as hard as, you know, these more bony places. So it's all right if we don't come to quite as much of a stark white yellow color. Heck yeah. That's a heck of a looking Tyranid, right? Looks great. Days old nakeds. I posted that meme on my deal. If anybody goes and sees it, it's funny. I do not necessarily condemn or condone anything. But the meme is funny. I'm definitely definitely not a condemn or condoner. Everybody should kind of do whatever's good for them. Don't worry about what anybody else says. That's always my opinion. Yes, I like it. I like it a lot. A little bit more of this down here. Oof. No. I'm always feeling like I gotta check my messages. That might just be a ingrained thing in me. Now down here, I've made a little bit of an error. It looks like I got a little too much. I got a little too wild with the Payne's gray. So we're gonna come in and we're just gonna drop a little bit of this Naples yellow in here real quick. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna magenta this and fade it. But first things first, we gotta lighten it up enough to make that magenta be noticeable. I should not have painted down into there. I think I probably was just moving quickly. But that's alright. In the end, this is going to look great. New placements. Still getting used to it. One of these days I'm going to finally land on a thing I like in a way we're going to film this the way I like it. And it's going to be great. And then I don't have to keep trying to learn a new way of doing it. Okay. Wow. Alright, well. I guess I'll come back. I should be dried up enough by now. Start hitting this with that magenta. Yes. Yes. That's what we want it to do. And that keeps with our theme of the way the organism blends into itself. because it goes into these different stages. Magenta being the stage before it hits its armors and weapons. Yeah, it's gonna look great. We'll let that dry while we move back around. And I do have this one tentacle I gotta mess with that's holding onto this arm. Whew. And we do have to do this rod that's inside there. We need to figure out what that is. I'm going to come over here. We're going to do these arms. We're going to do these two pieces tomorrow. I need to look up how I want to do this. I need to look at the actual... Bring that down, Pat. Jesus. I need to look at the actual what this is. I think it's just like a metal post. It looks just like a metal pole sticking out of the ground. But I really want to get an idea of what it is. This is a Space Marine arm, which we decided it was an Ultramarine. And we'll take care of that. But I think right now, we're going to start working on this other leg. We're going to come down. And we're trying to let that wash stay down where it is. And then only get the parts of the tops that really are going to get exposed. Really at the tops of it. The highlights, if you will. Kind of let the rest do its job. Because that's what washes are for. And don't get too nervous. If we make too much of an error, we put too much paint in somewhere, we can always add a little bit more wash back to it and kind of start over. Or if you catch it fast enough, you can usually wet down the paint, pull it right back off. Which gotta be pretty quick. And you have to let your stuff dry in between sessions. You can't do that when it's not 100% dry. Dry between colors, not sessions. I'm getting better with making my terms match up right. First several episodes, my terms didn't necessarily always match up right with what I was trying to say, because I was still trying to get my brain to talk about art properly. I got so used to talking about culinary for so long that I've forgotten a lot about how to describe art, which has been interesting. I'm definitely getting better at all of that, little bit by little bit. Ow. Really killing it right now. We're looking good. This just keeps looking better and better, honestly. I can't ask for it to come together any better. Really great looking piece. It's gonna be killer. Oh, up to number 6. Welcome, welcome. If you're still around, and if you jumped right off, then I'm sorry I missed you. And this is Pieces Pat Paints. I am Pat. Definitely hope we earn some subscribes today. Would love to see some more of those numbers. Feel free to ask any questions or chime in with any comments. We're pretty easy going around here. Everything is chill and kind of just chat about whatever while I paint and explain what I do, and that is what this channel is. We can paint really cool stuff like this Tyrannid. Yeah, bam, there it goes. I love when the camera focuses in. It finally grabs that super ultra high HD and it's like click. You're like, oh yeah, look at that baby. That's a mean looking dude. Mean looking bug. It's not really a dude, is it? I mean, it could be a dude, I guess. I don't know that they have that kind of thing since Tyranids kind of like get made a different way. I don't know. I'd have to ask Luton. Or listen to it. You'll listen to his shows for like an hour to find out. Because somewhere in there, that guy, he tells you, I promise. That guy is a massive lore head. For 40K, he seems to know just about everything, which is pretty cool. All right. Just a few more legs to go. We'll finish these bottom tentacles. And then we're going to do the carapace. Probably save the carapace for tomorrow. We're up over an hour now. So, I think we're cruising. I think we're looking good. So, ooh, wrong color. So I kind of want to keep going, at least get these last 2 legs finished up before we wrap up for the day. Yeah, a little bit more magenta than that, because right there close to that edge is kind of a little too much Payne's gray, maybe. All right. Anywho, get back to what we're trying to do. Big old ball of water. Those big old balls of water will catch you, man. Be careful. Do not let that sit on your brush. It'll drip down, and then all of a sudden you got water everywhere, and you're trying to catch it. You're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And again, we are blending this in little bits by little bits up to 6 views. Again, still some more. That's pretty cool though. On an MLK day, I'm sure people are doing other things besides hanging out on the internet at this time of day. Yeah, we're just alternating between the magenta, the burnt sienna, and the Naples yellow. And those are our 3 colors that create this transition, fade, whatever, however you want to call this. Again, let the model tell you where to go. Let your washes do your hard work. Let them hang out in the little valleys. Mm. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Looking primo. Getting that nice fade going on. Really should learn how to just paint like this. Alright, look at the screen. And I use that to paint, but good Lord, that's hard. If I ever figure out how to do that, I feel like maybe I conquer the internet as like the premier painting tutorial guy. Like, oh my gosh, you should watch this guy. Because it would look legit. You could keep it focused the whole time. You would only be out of focus for little bits ever. Oh, it'd be so nice. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. I'm sure there's actually a camera I'm missing. I'm sure I'm missing some piece of equipment that really makes it all come together. Oh, there's that water bubble again. Definitely don't want that guy right now. He'll mess us up bad. Okay. Sometimes I get going too fast and I don't knock that bubble off like I should. And then, like I said, it gets that water goes flipping everywhere. You're in for a bad time. All right. Coming through. Looking great. Mm-hmm. Get underneath here, make sure everything's looking nice. Again, this is that bottom section, so if we're going to make some mistakes, this is where we're going to be okay with accepting them. If we need to practice our technique, practicing it underneath is the place to practice. You need to build up that confidence before you go to work on the big part. Just take your time, be patient, don't forget to breathe. I believe in you. You can do it. You can be better than me if you try. That's always my goal, is to help inspire somebody to be better at what I do than I am. I always enjoyed watching the students that would actually get it, and they could come up with stuff where I know I couldn't make that particular thing the way they made it. And it happens a lot. It happened a lot to me while I was in school. It was great. Teaching school. There's some super talented people come through. Of course, you can't really let on too much because you got to keep this reputation as the most epic dude that ever epicked. But I think people know when they really impressed me. I really enjoy it. I really like seeing people surpass me. Like, I played soccer, but I was never as good as my kids are. Well, maybe as good as my youngest. He's like me. He's kind of a bruiser. He wants to play that physical game with you. But my oldest was really very talented at it for a while. He now does robotics, though. He didn't want to keep doing soccer forever, which I think I've talked about that before. Oh, see, usually right now I would have to go get my kids, but I don't. They're here because it's Martin Luther King Day, so we're just gonna keep painting, and we're up to a 7th view, which is great. Hello and welcome. Feel free to say hi, shout out, tell us where you're from. Tell us if you paint, if you don't paint. That goes out for anybody. I spend a lot of time talking to myself, so it's always nice. It's always nice to have somebody else when they say something. I am also good with just talking to myself. I know people seem to enjoy just listening to whatever it is I kind of talk about. I was thinking about maybe getting like a script, like starting to do like Pat reads and paints, like read a book while painting, just to kind of, I don't know, be weird. There's a lot of books out there that are like public domain that you could just read. Although I don't know how I would read and paint at the same time. If I had to like memorize excerpts and then like rehearse, like recite them. That's the word, recite. Start learning a bunch of Shakespearean plays and stuff. Start reciting them. But today we're going to do Macbeth while we paint. Golly, that would be insane. That's like glutton for punishment right there. Alright. Gonna make that inside have that nice raw magenta look. Super cool army. It's been a lot of fun painting this guy in particular. There you go, a little bit more like that. Yeah, that feels a little bit more natural for me. Alright, I like that. I like it when it feels natural and I feel like I'm in frame better. That's the big ticket about painting on camera, is keeping yourself in that sweet spot. People can see what you're doing and you can see what you're doing. A little bit easier on an easel because, you know, just change angle and boom, we're there. A little bit more difficult on a webcam. Definitely taking some getting used to. But I think we're doing pretty good. I think we get a little bit better all the time. Really liking this light setup. This works out a whole lot better. So that is a win for today. So we'll take that all the way to the bank. And I'm going to enjoy it. And you can't stop me. Not that if you find folks who want to stop me. And unfortunately, I'm not actually going to the bank yet. We still need like a whole gang of followers and more watch hours. So thank you for everybody who comes by and watches. Really appreciate that. That's awesome. Big shout out to folks like Jared, who I know share the snot out of me and get me going all over the place. They've been very, very helpful. So I really appreciate those folks. I appreciate everybody who watches, everybody who stops by. You really add to all the numbers and all that stuff and keep us going. And it's, you know, it's not just the Facebook standard do-blah stuff. That's for real. It really does. It really does help get things going. Ever since the big first push we had, it's been slowly trickling in. And we're on our road to 500 right now. So that's our big first goal. I'll make 500 and I'm going to build a car. So that'll be fun. We're going to build a car and then we're going to convert it into like an orc death racer kind of thing. Dim limited edition derby orc style. Alright, so we're going to fix this claw here like we did the other one. So I just went ahead and put that Naples yellow. We're going to let it dry as we get the rest of this arm finished up. And we'll come back and magenta that like it's supposed to be. Lots and lots of detail work here. Lots and lots of getting in, making sure we're putting paint down in the right place. Hey, you're up to viewer number 8. Hello and welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate you. This is a Tyranid Psychophage for our new folks that are coming in. It is for a game called Warhammer 40K, if you're familiar with it. If you're not, there's lots of material for it to go look at out on the internets, so go take a look if you might later on, or now, whatever. I mean, hopefully not now. I definitely need the viewers. But it's a cool immersive universe. It is a war game. I paint a lot of stuff for this game, not just for myself, but for other people. Because it's so popular. There's a lot of folks that play it. Alright. They're looking really, really good. Really digging this. Okay. Alright, let's make sure we've got all our little places that need to be magenta'd. Magenta'd up right. We're going to have to come back through with the Payne's gray for some of these talons. Fix those up. We might do that later. Can't decide if I want to make these teeth yellow or if I want to make them the Payne's gray. I think we're going to go with yellow, since it's part of his maw. And with these guys, we are trying to get all the way around. So don't be afraid to move that model. Keep an eye where you're going. Work that down to the base. Leave that edge at the bottom where your wash was to kind of act as that. Oh, the scummy deposits on teeth. Plaque. That's what the name of that is. Plaque. And we can always plaque it up more if we want. We can come back with some more washes, or if they look too clean. Same here on these. Got a couple teeth you can see from the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and address those while we're down here. You can see how that maw really turned out nice. Roar. Looking real good. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think we probably are gonna let this go for today. Been on for almost an hour and a half, which is great. Good run. So tomorrow we're gonna come back. We've got all our arms done. So tomorrow we're gonna come back. We'll finish these two guys, and then we'll start working on the carapace, and we'll get that all knocked out, which will be great. It's gonna look really good. In between then, I'm gonna work on some more termagants. As you can see, there's plenty of them down there. That's about half of what I have is finally out on the table. My plan is to just keep like more and more of these things out here so we have till we have this whole project done. So, but we may stop. We may pause in between this and do a quick project. I did get a commission from the Hamilton Supper Club. Really cool guys. It's a neat restaurant. They won a bartender war, and they want one of these guys to have a little logo on his little jacket. So we're gonna put the logo on his jacket, probably on his lapel and on his back. I haven't decided exactly how I'm gonna do it. I might just freehand it. I might make a stencil. Don't know. But I'm gonna take a couple looks at what I want to do, figure out how I want to do it, and then we're gonna go from there. But we're in a great place to stop on that psychophage for today, and let my voice rest up because it's super dry, and I've been hollering at kids because that's what you do when you have kids. You holler at them. Do this, do that. It's a great part about parenting. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody comes by. Thank you so much for stopping in, and hopefully we got some likes and subscribes. I definitely appreciate everybody who does that. It helps me get this moving out to more people, and helps us. Hopefully, it's going to help us eventually make a little bit of money to invest into making more models and painting more stuff. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic day and stay warm. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.